Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is what I've been hearing over at Manic Expression, the website I mentioned in the first episode. The bronies there have been starting forums and stuff saying that the theme song to the show isn't actually too popular. Apparently there's some backlash there, and it's kind of interesting, because that's not the first thing I would have expected to have a backlash among the fandom. So, yeah, because I personally don't think it's too bad. Like, you can kind of see what they're trying to do. It starts out with the old theme song and then just takes off into like a, hey, this is a new show, we're trying something with more kick to it, so hurrah, all that. That's kind of what they're going for. And I mean, works, I guess, well enough. But granted, though, it is definitely the kind of thing I only had to hear once, and I do fast forward through it every time I try to watch an episode to take notes on what I'm gonna say here. So yeah, definitely not like great, but I mean, still not so bad. I mean, I'm surprised of all the things. That's the one that's interesting. All right. Anyway, though, this is Boastbusters. Haha. We're on episode 6 now, and fair warning up front, I don't like the rival that can do anything better than you plotline, because I mean that's one of many plot lines that's been done dozens of times before, and I just don't like it. I think it's usually kind of, well, I mean, what's central to it is sort of crapping on at least some of the main characters, just sort of dragging them out to be bested and see what happens when when they are essentially just beaten down by some character we don't care about and are probably never going to see again. So not too big a fan of that, and I do like the new challenger approaches plotline, which is similar, but instead of just to beat them down, it's someone who shows up to challenge the main characters, someone who maybe is good in an unusual way we haven't seen before, and just like, how will the characters take this new character on? That's usually more fun, and more on that later, because this one's a little bit of both. But anyway. Okay, so we start out with Spike building up Twilight, how she's really powerful, and how, I guess, he doesn't think he's ever seen a unicorn any better. And so, of course, that's where a new character's cue to enter. They see 2 other characters that I guess they know, named Snips and Snails, and again, the show really wasn't expecting to have any boy viewers, which, wondering how long that's going to continue. This is episode 6, they're still kind of picking on them in, I guess, a lighthearted manner, because, I mean, yeah, Snips and Snails, they're a couple of comic relief morons, that just these, I guess, little boys who talk like they're a couple of doofuses and believe everything they hear, and I mean, that's okay. So, but they see them running by, and they tell Twilight and Spike that there's a new unicorn in town who calls herself the Great and Powerful Trixie, and literally calls herself, actually, because she refers to herself in the third person all the time. But so anyway, she's coming to town, and she's ready to show everyone how she's the greatest power in the land. And I mean, they go and investigate with Snips and Snails, and it's, I guess, kind of a magic show where Trixie performs and then brags about what she's done. There was the important part of the bragging is that she's defeated an Ursa Major, which is, I guess, a horrible bear monster that no one's ever beaten. So, okay, but they watch the show, and the friends are all there, save for Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy. None of them in this episode, because it's a pretty straightforward one. They just want it to be about taking on Trixie, and obviously the ones who are going to do that are not Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy. It's Rarity, Applejack, and Rainbow Dash. So, okay, so Twilight, the others watch the show. They get really fed up really fast because Trixie really likes to brag, and it's raining outside if you can't hear. But anyway, so yeah, they want to see her, especially when Trixie calls out the audience, like, okay, if anyone doesn't think, because she hears them sort of talking about how they're annoyed with her, alright, if anyone doesn't think I'm the greatest talent, come up here and prove me wrong. I challenge any of you. And Twilight, though, doesn't want to take the challenge because she hears them getting really mad at Trixie for bragging and just being really generally annoying. And, well, she thinks that if she were to show off her magic, gonna say the same thing to them. Or, I'm sorry, they were going to say the same thing about her. And, anyway. So, yeah. She doesn't want to take Trixie's challenge. So instead, the friends all try to take it, and this is where the dumping on them comes in. First, Applejack tries with her lasso skills. She can do a lot of lasso tricks, and she can lasso an apple. And then Trixie, with her magic, she can, I guess she does the same thing. She controls the rope, does more like a snake charmer bit. She ties up Applejack, she grabs an apple with it and shoves it in her mouth, and then Rainbow Dash and Rarity try, and of course Rainbow Dash has great feats of fast flying and weather control. She can fly through clouds really fast and control the rain from them, so they splash onto her at the end of the act and form like a rainbow, just a little rainbow on her back. So, okay, and then Trixie shoots the rainbow and makes it spin around Rainbow Dash like a tornado, spin her around until she gets sick, and that apparently is beating her. And that's the one thing I didn't get, though, that, yeah, nothing Trixie does is legitimately one-upping the friend's talent. It's like, I guess you could argue she did the same thing as Applejack, but, yeah, she didn't do any fast flying or anything with Rainbow Dash. She spun her around until she got sick, and then the same thing with Rarity. Rarity decorates herself, I guess, because that's, I mean, all she's good for, apparently, according to the show, and then Trixie messes up her outfit, which, and I don't know why Rarity can't use her powers again to just make it right, but instead she runs off screaming about the fact that Trixie's turned her hair green, and then we do get one funny gag where Pony in the audience, who just happens to have green hair, is like hears Rarity run by screaming about how bad green hair is, and goes, "Oh, I never." So that was funny, but I still don't get why that's legitimately considered a win for Trixie. I mean, if I jump on stage with a billy club and I knock Trixie unconscious, is everybody gonna cheer and say that I'm the greatest talent in the land? I don't get it. So, okay, the friends all lose, Twilight refuses to step up, so Trixie wins that round, and this, though, is where it shifts over into more of the new Challenger Approaches plot, because then Snips and Snails decide they're not just content with the magic show. They volunteer to be Trixie's, like, whipping boys to just wait on her hand and foot, and then they decide they also want to see her actually best an Ursa Major, because, you know, after hearing about it, apparently that would be really incredible to see, so they run off into the woods and see if there's just one that happens to be lying around. So, but they do find one, they do wake it up, and it has a really cool design, actually. They give the Ursa Major. It's a giant bear that looks like it was just cut out of, like, a Twilight Sky. Okay, that's going to get confusing with Twilight Sparkle, but no, it looks like it was cut out of sort of a dark blue night sky. Just, it's it looks like it's just made of a starry sky, just like a bluish sort of design, I guess, that looks like it really doesn't belong in the space it's in, and but yeah, stars in it, cool design. I'm bad at describing these things, aren't I? Anyway, it follows them all the way back to the town, and they try to get Trixie to take it on, and of course she can't. It turns out she just made the whole thing up. She tries her tricks from before that worked, I guess, on Applejack and Rainbow Dash, which her rope isn't big enough to tie up the bear, and she tries a little weather control, gets a lightning cloud to strike it, and I mean, it just mildly annoys it. Yeah, nothing works. So, okay, then Spike gets Twilight, and, you know, we, I guess, don't actually get to see her legitimately best Trixie, but we do get to see her outdo Trixie, because she does know how to take this thing on. She, I guess, first uses a trick to summon some music from, I guess, whatever you call this. I need to learn about plants, but she gets some plants, I guess, that usually make a musical-esque sound to amp up and put the bear to sleep, and then she forms a giant makeshift baby bottle, and out of, just see the episode if you want to see how, it's too long, but anyway, she just puts it to sleep, gives it a bottle, sends it back into the cave, and then it turns out she was able to do that because it was only a baby. It was an Ursa Minor, so making use of the terms there. And so, of course, everyone wants to know, okay, well, if that's an Ursa Minor, what's an Ursa Major like? And then cut to that, and it's the Ursa Major, I guess, is the mom. It's holding the baby in one arm, the baby that was as big as the town, and it's an even darker shade. It looks more like a deeper, I guess, night sky, and it has huge fangs, and I mean, the first one looks cute in comparison, so, okay, mildly amusing now. But, alright, so then, yeah, all the Twilight thinks the friends are going to be mad at her. They tell her, like, of course not. That's, I mean, we like that you're talented. You know, we're proud to have you as our friend. We know you're not a braggart. You weren't trying to do that. And then Trixie tries to save face. She throws together a, well, I still have show-stopping powers, and then she just like kicks off a smokescreen and runs for it. And I mean, and Twilight tells her friends to just let her go, or tells Rainbow Dash to just let her go. Rainbow Dash was going to go pick a fight one more time, and okay, but yeah, that she says maybe Trixie will learn her lesson one day. So, okay, this episode, I don't know, I liked it more in the second half, like I said, because we actually do get to see Twilight one up Trixie, and yeah, that was something I kind of wanted to see, but anyway, otherwise, like I said, the design of the Ursa Minor was pretty cool. The scene where Twilight, I do like the idea actually of exploring what Twilight can do a little more. That was good. But yeah, like I said, the first half, I don't go for those kinds of plots. They kind of annoy me, and I'm not sure about this episode's moral either, actually, because I mean, I think it was pretty obvious from the get-go that they didn't mean using the Twilight. They didn't mean using powers to take someone else on, or especially in this case, take a challenge, or best someone who's already bragging. But that was kind of jumbled. But okay, starting from the top, why would they have a problem with that if they were already essentially trying to do that? They were already trying to show off to one-up Trixie. I mean, Twilight thinks they're going to be mad at her for doing it when that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, even if we're honestly expected to believe she couldn't tell that they didn't mean just using powers, just showing people you have powers. They meant bragging about it. And I said people again, I should have said ponies, but that's going to become annoying down the line. But okay, anyway, so yeah, I have no idea why that wasn't really obvious. I mean, maybe if just Rainbow Dash had tried to take the challenge, because she was also sort of bragging in this episode. They fit in a gag about how she still kind of has an ego herself, so maybe if she'd been the only one and Twilight had seen that and said, like, okay, so either you win, in which case your friends think you're a braggart, or you lose, in which case you're a laughingstock, and then later on they'd said, well, no, I mean, Rainbow is a braggart, but no, she was just trying to stand up for us. We're still on her side, we'll still be on your side, and that probably would have liked that better, but anyway, there was that, and I also, it's like they kind of skipped a step, because I didn't see why they thought that Trixie needed to go. She's being insufferable. She's crossed the line because, I mean, it's a magic show. She has a stage. She's in the middle of a town. She's saying, yeah, come see my act. I'm going to perform magic tricks for you. I'm going to tell you about what I've done. She didn't say you had to watch. I mean, that's kind of the nature of a show. I mean, maybe it involved more self-promotion than the average one, but, I mean, that's what she promised, you know. I don't really see why everybody just decided she needed to go down right there, but, okay, so kind of rushed in that aspect. Otherwise, I do think it's a good moral, though, to learn that, I mean, even if you're talented at something, you don't need to hide it, you don't need to downplay yourself, but I mean, just how they played it, I don't think really worked. So, yeah, just kind of a subpar episode, I guess. It's okay. Anyway, so that's pretty much all I got. I mean, I don't know if I could think of, I mean, I kind of want to think of something better I could say about it, because, I mean, I didn't hate it. It just, I think I already said I like the idea of exploring what Twilight can do, so, yeah, that's all I got. I guess we'll see what the next one does going from here, so, anyway,